Hello YouTube! Welcome back to yet another installment of my Dota 2 strategy series. Yes, I have already done a guide over Phantom Lancer, however, this is going to be my revised round 2 version of this hero. I feel as if that my prior guide did not really cover important concepts about this guy, and I don't think that I did him justice. So, all that being said, if you've seen my previous guide, I went over the basics of how to play this hero, all his basic skills, the basic concept behind him. However, there's a lot of mistakes that I made throughout that video, and a lot of things I think that a player can do much more efficiently if you're going to give this guy a try. So that being said, this video is going to focus on the more advanced concepts of how to play Phantom Lancer, and it's really going to focus on key details like your itemization and how you're going to change that depending on the course of the game. So, all that being said, even if you're not the biggest fan of playing carries or Phantom Lancer, I'm going to talk about more things than just this guy. I'm going to talk about how should you change your strategy depending on the enemy lineup, if you have a game plan in mind over what items you're going to buy, how to be flexible with that. So I think you can still glean some knowledge from this, and I hope you find it helpful. Again, thank you guys so much for your support here, and let's get right into it. So, I'm not going to cover Phantom Lancer's basic abilities. If you're not familiar with this hero, I do encourage you to check out the first guide that I made, and I'll be sure to post a link to that in the video description. But other than that, I want to go ahead and get right into some things I've started to do differently on this guy. So, starting item build, I do this very, very specifically. I start with a ring of protection for the simple purpose that I want to be able to buy tranquil boots from the side shop. You notice also that I did not pick up a sixth item. This is kind of just a personal preference of mine, but I think it's kind of helpful. The reason that I don't do this is because I want to be able to buy either a quelling blade or a stout shield from the side shop. So I'm actually going to go into hero perspective here for just a minute, or not perspective, but hero chase mode, and I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. So the reason that I like to do this is because Quelling Blade is going to make an immense amount of difference on this guy whenever you're in the lane, especially when you're last hitting under tower. And, that being said, this applies to your illusions. This means that your jungling and your pushing is going to be much faster when the time rolls around to do so. I'll pick up a stout shield if I'm going to be in a very difficult lane, such as a dual ranged, or if I know that I'm going to have a lot of trouble with harass. And it looks like, unfortunately, we are going to get first blooded here by these guys. Again, I am not going to talk really in depth about the team fights that go on here. I'll cover them a bit, but I want to really talk about, what items, stuff like that. Now, I do actually use my Doppelwalk interestingly here. I put my illusion right here to make sure the Huskar can't go back around. That way he can't juke me out through the top of the trees right there. So that worked out pretty well. And even though he did get first blood on us, still the fact that I was able to get a kill out of that means it's not, totally the end of the world. So that definitely could have gone worse for us. So, all that being said, I want to talk in depth right now about Tranquil Boots. I actually may speed the video up a bit, just so that we can get to the point where I'm going to see the stuff. I'll make up my mind on that here in a second. We're just going to kind of play it by ear here, see how it goes. So, the reason that I go Tranquil Boots on this hero is for a couple of reasons. But let's go ahead and bring that up just in case you may not be familiar with that. So, Tranquil Boots. I strongly feel as if Tranquil Boots is one of the most wildly underrated items in the game. Now, the standard boot to build on Phantom Lancer is Power Treads, and yes, these are good. Power Treads gives Phantom Lancer a lot of very, very good things, including, the movement speed. It makes you a little bit tankier because you're probably going to stay on strength threads most of the time, which Phantom Lancer really needs. Early on in the game, your HP is quite low, but Tranquil Boots are just incredible. Reason being is because this will give you enough sustain that you are never going to have to leave your lane. This becomes extremely valuable against lanes that are going to really whittle your HP down. This lane that I'm up against, this Tidehunter and Huskar, is actually not a terrible example of this. You notice the Huskar is harassing me fairly well with his burning spears. This is, you are on fire! I never knew the tooltip said that. Oh, that's awesome. But anyway, if I'm in a lane where I'm taking a lot of harass like this, I want to go ahead and get Tranquil Boots up immediately. One important thing that I want to point out that I did right away is, notice how the lane is pushed up and I could not easily get to the side shop? I actually made the decision to go ahead and pick up Tranquil Boots off the courier. Normally I don't do this. Normally what I do is I have the ring of protection that I buy in the base, and then you can finish your Tranquil Boots right from the side shop. Really cool. Pick up your Boots of Speed, Ring of Regen, and you're done. So the only item you really can't get from here is the Ring of Protection, and I think if you could, now that'd be interesting to see what happened if you actually could get Ring of Protection from there. I'm not sure how that would change the game, but anyway, I got my Tranquil Boots up. Now, if I were in a lane where I felt like I was a little bit farther ahead and we were doing it a bit better, say we didn't get first blooded, I would go for this kill, by the way, but if I did, creep aggro would have absolutely destroyed me there. Look how little I got away with already. So, best case scenario, what would have happened there if I would have went for that kill on Huskar is we would have traded. I don't really want to do that at this point, and look at this. Since I have Tranquil Boots, I'm able to stay in the lane while my lane opponent, Huskar, has to go back to base. Well, he didn't really have to there. He could have tangoed up. I'm not actually sure why he did that. But let's just say in a scenario where he didn't start with 2 tangos like he did, and he just had 1 tango left, he'd be forced to go back to base anyway. So the concept still applies. The fact that I have these Tranquil Boots means that I do not have to leave the lane. I can sit here and continue to get farm and experience while Huskar goes back. That's going to make all the difference, especially considering he got first blood on the Lena. This is going to allow me to catch back up to him. Now, all that being said, Tranquil Boots, not only just for the sustain that it gives you, the active on it is absolutely incredible, the 170 HP over 10 seconds, but the +3 armor and +3 HP regen is really, really great. Looks like Tinker's coming down here for a gank, and the Lena looks really, really dead, but I'm going to be able to get away from this, so that's okay. Anyway, these boots, they do go into their break status if you take damage 4 times in 10 seconds. That's usually not an issue, and this is not really a deal breaker for me with these boots on this hero. I feel like that the utility that they provide far outweighs the pure damage and a little bit more survivability you get out of power treads. Again, this is my personal preference, but I feel like this is the best choice to go on this hero. I pick up a Ring of Regen from the side shop, and the reason that I do this is because, again, I know that Huskar's coming back to lane. He's going to be hitting me with those burning spears all the time, and I really don't have to deal with that. This is also going to build into, arguably, one of the best items to get on this hero, which is Soul Ring. Okay, so, yeah, that's cool stuff going up top. I'm actually not sure why the perspective changed right there, to be totally honest with you. Oh, directed camera. Well, I guess that was a good time to go in directed camera because we caught a sweet kill. But anyway, Soul Ring. I want to talk about this fairly in depth. The Soul Ring Tranquil Boots combo on Phantom Lancer is one of the best combinations in the entire game. So, with Soul Ring, not only are the base stats really good, +3 HP regen and 50% mana regen, but its active is where this really shines. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some quick math here. You're going to use 150 HP to gain 150 mana. With level 4 Spirit Lance, let's just assume this is level 4, you know, just so we can have the max values on it. It's going to cost you 140 mana. So what this means is you get a free 250 damage nuke and you have 10 mana left over. It's not over yet. With that 10 mana left over, you can use the Tranquil Boots regen, and the only thing this has costed you is 25 mana. That was a nice Sunstrike. So, the only thing that this combo costs you at all is literally 15 mana. That's it. And you're going to restore more HP from the Tranquil Boots than you were damaged from the Soul Ring. I cannot emphasize how good this is, and thankfully I do have it done right now. I'm waiting for the courier to get back to base so they can go ahead and bring this to me. And look, the Tinker's down here trying to harass me out of the lane, but since I have the Tranquil Boots and the Ring of Regen going on, I don't have to worry. I would have had to leave the lane by now if I would have went any other build in this. The amount of sustain and utility this gives you is just absolutely ridiculous. Now, that being said, this is going to lead to my next point of discussion and a big reason why I decided to make a round 2 version of my series for this particular hero. In my earlier guide, I advised picking up a Vanguard on this guy. However, I've since changed my opinion on this. Yep, I got the combo up, and Lena was nice enough to give me a Tango. So I'm going to go ahead and Tranquil back up. You're going to see me use this here. So the combo, the way this works, Soul Ring, throw out your Q. This actually might be a kill. It's really close. The reason that I used my Doppelwalk there, by the way, is because I really wasn't sure where the Tidehunter was at, so I wanted to go ahead and disorient him for a second. I probably didn't have to do that, but low HP Huskar is really, really scary, so I Doppelwalk, walk up behind him, stab him in the back. I think it's just because I kind of wanted to feel cool, to be honest. Anyway, the combo is now up, and even though our lane did not go particularly well, the fact that I now have these 2 items means that we are going to be able to come back and take complete dominance of this lane. In the earlier guide that I made, I was playing with a Keeper of the Light. That's, I didn't really want to show that combo again because it's arguably extremely overpowered, so I decided to go ahead and go with a lane where we didn't really do as well as you can. My farm at this point is quite bad with only 26 last hits. By the 10-minute mark, ideally you want to have about 50 to 60 last hits if you've been uninterrupted, you know, people haven't been dying, you've been able to last hit creeps without a lot of interference. This was definitely not one of those games, but the Soul Ring Tranquil Boots combo, man, this is so good. They can't get close to their tower right now, because if they do, I'm going to be able to pop this, throw out a 250 damage nuke, they're going to be forced back. I can do this again and again and again. Pop Soul Ring, throw a Lance, that's it. He has to run back. This is incredibly good. I found in all the starting item builds for this hero that none of them really match the effectiveness of this. But anyway, I'm going to go and get back to the discussion I was starting about Vanguard. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. It's time for a little bit more math, but we're going to keep it fairly light. Okay, let's look at Vanguard here. 2,225 gold, 250 health, which is very, very important. You do need the health from this, but I'm going to explain how you get it otherwise here in a second. The plus 6 HP regen is great, but take a look at this. With the combination of Tranquil Boots and Soul Ring, there's my 6 HP regen right there. Not only that, too, and yeah, we're just going to kill this tanker. I'm going to go and get rid of the shop real quick so you can see it, and yeah, pretty basic stuff. Anyway, so I get the plus 6 HP regen from these two items already. That's covered. Not only that, I have the active from Tranquil Boots, 170 HP that I can pop every 40 seconds. That is so... I cannot explain or express how good this is. Now, the block chance on this is kind of cool, but remember, this does not affect your illusions. While this is great if you're going for an aggressive playstyle and you're going to be tower diving a lot, that's what Vanguard is best for, is for absorbing tower shots, in all honesty. Or if you're playing like against a Broodmother, it's going to make the Spiderlings do virtually no damage to you. It's also a good pickup for that. But otherwise, Vanguard is completely outclassed by the combination of having these two items. Now, this is also going to lead into the next point of discussion, where am I going to get this plus 250 HP from? The answer to that is Vitality Booster. I can pick up a Vitality Booster, and generally I get this as my second semi-big item. Now, there are games where I might pick this up a lot earlier. Games where I would do this, let's imagine they had like a Bounty Hunter that was doing well, or a Nyx Assassin that was doing really well. Phantom Lancer has a really low HP pool just starting out the game, and it's important to be aware of that. So picking up just a naked Vitality Booster, there is nothing wrong with that at all. I would do this in a game where I knew that I could be ganked really at any time, and I had to have more survivability. Now, excuse me, I make a big mistake here, by the way. I should have said this earlier. I accidentally skill my Juxtapose, get level 4 Lance immediately. I do not know why I did this. Just probably a misclick or a miskey or something, but whatever. I could actually talk about skill build for a second as well. You'll notice that I left a Doppelwalk at level 2. This is kind of a personal preference of mine. I feel like Doppelwalk level 2 is kind of the sweet spot for this hero, and I feel like taking more levels in this early is really not necessary. This is also another thing that I've changed about my prior guide, where I recommended maxing the Q and the W first. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but it's a bit of a waste, because while the mana cost on Doppelwalk does scale really well and the cooldown does go down, that's really the only benefit you get out of it. And if you're not using this all the time, which honestly, if you are using this all the time, you're probably going to lose the game anyway, because that means that you are really, really getting beat up, and that means you're not farming. So I leave this at level 2 for a very long time, and I think that is completely fine. Again, try your own skill builds, find out what works for you, and I realized my mistake at level 9, and I finished up the 4th level of Spirit Lance, but I leave this at level 2. You can leave this at level 1, that's also fine. It's just kind of a personal thing. I like taking it to level 2 and leaving it there for a long time. Now, aside from that, you'll also notice that I've been picking up levels in Juxtapose. Now, in my earlier video, I said I don't like to do this because it can kind of push out the lane. It's really not true at all. All you have to do is micro your illusion. I make a big mistake there, by the way. I should have went on the Tide Hunter instead of the Huskar, but I think I'm going to be able to get away with it regardless. But in my prior guide, I mentioned that I don't like to pick up Juxtapose to like level 9. I actually think that's quite a big mistake, and the reason that is because with the Soul Ring Tranquil Boots build, oh, I remember this actually. This is why Soul Ring is great. I can pop Soul Ring, be at 1 HP for a split second, but it's enough to get off a Doppelwalk. That is awesome. Yeah, the Venomancer is probably going to kill that guy. So that's good. Yep, he does get the kill. I tell you, Soul Ring provides so much utility to this guy. It is unbelievable. That is a rare case, what you just saw me do there, where I use Soul Ring to get just enough mana to Doppelwalk. But again, you know, think creatively and think how you can use this stuff in that fashion. Okay, so again, back to what I was talking about. Earlier I advised only getting Juxtapose at level 9. I don't like that all that much anymore because I want to go in the jungle earlier than that. The ideal thing you want to do is Phantom Lancer. I'm actually going to go into free camera here for a second. As Phantom Lancer, what I would do is I would push out this lane, and we're going to take this tower really quickly. I'm surprised we don't have it already, to be honest. But I want to go ahead and push up through here, then jungle, push up through here, jungle, repeat. Do that over and over and over. That's what Phantom Lancer excels at. While Phantom Lancer is a ridiculously hard carry, he has a ton of use as a really, really strong pusher. Not too many other heroes in the game can really do it as well as he can fill the role like that. Really bad positioning by the Tidehunter here, and he's going to be in a lot of trouble. Yeah, he's going to die. The Leon expected him to run that way, which is understandable, but it looks like he decided to double back. Yep, get more kills here. The Invoker gets a lot of really good Sunstrikes this game, which is actually pretty sweet. So anyway, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to push this up, probably take this tower, then whenever I feel like I'm in danger, go back, start farming the jungle. That's going to lead into my next big point of discussion, and this is a heated debate amongst a lot of Phantom Lancer players, and I'm going to give my opinion over it. That is the debate of Radiance versus Diffusal Blade. I could talk about this for quite a while, actually, so let's go ahead and take a look. By the way, I decided to go Diffusal Blade this game as my first item, and I will explain why. But before I do that, let's take a look at Radiance. So, Radiance is really effective on... Let's talk about that first, is why build Radiance in the first place, and what heroes are good to have Radiance on. Radiance is really good on heroes that expect to have a prolonged presence in teamfights where you stand a low risk of dying, or heroes that have illusions. So some examples of this. Weaver is a good holder of Radiance because he's very rarely going to die in a team fight. Odds are if you're playing Weaver, you're going to be able to use your time-lapse well, you're going to be Sakuchiing around, you're probably not going to die. The entire time you're doing that, Radiance is ticking and doing burn damage. If you're playing Naga Siren, very similar concept to Phantom Lancer, you can use your illusions, split push with them. If you're playing someone like Doombringer and you're playing someone like Doombringer and you're pretty farmed, you're probably not going to die in a team fight. The entire time Radiance is ticking and doing burn damage. I see some Bloodseekers pick up Radiance because it's good if there's creep waves around because it's going to proc your Bloodbath passive. That's also nice. Is there any way I can do... I'm kind of tired of the shot being in the way, to be honest, but okay, looks like not much is going to happen for a minute. Anyway, go ahead and talk about this. Radiance is great on Phantom Lancer because it turns you into an absolute split-pushing nightmare, and it does add a lot of damage in teamfights. However, keep in mind that the plus 60 damage only applies to your main hero, not your illusions. Illusions do not get benefit from raw damage numbers, so keep that in mind. I will get Radiance on Phantom Lancer if I've had an exceptionally good early game. I have at least 50 to 60 last hits by about the 10-minute mark, and I think I can get away with it. Again, if they have strong gankers on the enemy team, like the two I mentioned earlier, Bounty Hunter and Nyx are very effective against Phantom Lancer. Also, heroes like Slardar, they can make your invisibility. God, I forgot he maxed his Martian machines by this point in the game. That does a lot of damage. Again, if you're against heroes that can dispel your invisibility, Slardar is an extremely good example of this. And the enemy team is very active. I'm probably not going to buy Radiance because I'm going to be trying to save up the 3,800 gold for Relic, and if the enemy team is shutting me down, I'm not going to get there. What that's going to mean is I'm going to finish my Radiance late, it's going to lose a lot of its utility, and I'm going to be a pretty sad guy. I don't want to say only because I still think Radiance has utility throughout most of the game, but as the game goes on, Radiance becomes less effective, so try to finish this before the 20-minute mark. Ideally, you want to get it around 18 or 19 minutes, is usually about the time that I try to aim for. Very fast times would be around 14 to 15 minutes, but you can definitely do that. I'm not the best farmer in the world, but I'm getting there. It takes a while to learn, how to last hit really effectively, and I'm okay at it, but I am nothing compared to people that really, really know how to farm well. And you got to be able to farm well to pick up this item in time and make it useful. So anyway, I've got my Diffusal Blade up here, and I'm actually going to take a break here because this is really important to talk about. The moment I get my Diffusal Blade, I'm already using charges. I use the charge on Tidehunter to make sure we can keep him in place, and I'm probably going to go ahead and use a charge on... so I use a Diffusal Blade charge on Drow here. What this is going to mean is that this is going to score us another kill. At least I think it does. Come on. Bang! Okay, good. Got another kill here. Alright, so Other part of my discussion, Diffusal Blade. This item is really, 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 really good. Actually, it's core on Phantom Lancer. I don't think there's really any other item you can get, particularly for an orb effect. But the reason this is so great is because your feedback applies to your illusions. I talked about this in my prior guide, so I'm not going to go in depth into it. But the mana burn applies to all your illusions. It's a pretty quick, cheap item, and it's great for your first big pickup, and I really, really enjoy that. Now, the mistake I see a lot of players make is whenever you pick up your Diffusal Blade, do not be afraid to use these charges. And if you do go this route and not the Radiance route, you need to be active in your game. You need to be really actively pushing down towers, and I have Diffusal and Vitality Booster at this point. I'm ready to fight. My core is done. I don't have to sit in the jungle and farm mindlessly at this point. If I were to do that, I'd probably be going for a Radiance build. Awesome. Yeah, get some really good kills this game. So, going back to Radiance here, just for a minute. Again, Radiance is a great item. However, you really should understand that its utility is meant more as a farming item for Phantom Lancer. Like I talked about before, I would go into a lane and go back into free camera. Go into a lane, push the lane out, get all your illusions is pushing here, go back into the jungle, farm, send your illusion army back into the lane, go back in the jungle, farm. That's what you do with a Radiance build, and it's really, really effective. I say my games are split about 50-50 on Diffusal and Radiance. Now, if I do go the Radiance build, I'm still going to get Diffusal Blade, but it's going to be after I get a Vitality Booster. This game is a bit of a stomp, but again, I'm mainly making this just to cover some points I think I missed earlier in this hero. So if I did go the Radiance build, I would probably not be as active with my team as I am right now. It is absolutely critical that you do pick up a Vitality Booster afterwards, though. If you pick up a Radiance and you don't have HP, you're not going to do anything anyway. Like, you're still only going to have around 700-ish, 800-ish HP. And yeah, while your Radiance does a lot of damage, if you die instantly, if the enemy team has, any kind of dust detection, or you simply get caught, it's not going to work out for you. And again, the reason why plus HP is so incredibly good on heroes like this is because it gives your illusions that same amount of HP. I'm going to go ahead and run away here. And Doppelwalk does give you a speed bonus, by the way. I did not talk about this in my prior video, but the plus 15% movement speed, that's actually pretty respectable, and that can really make all the difference here. Jungling with Phantom Lancer is really, really simple. So you can see I'm I'm throwing out Spirit Lance to go ahead and start up a jungle. If I were heavily jungling, I'd probably be using Soul Ring, throw out a Lance, use your Tranquil Boots, all that good stuff. You get the general idea. Again, you've seen all this stuff in the prior guide. Okay, so I could talk more about the whole Radiance versus Diffusal Blade thing. I go about 50-50 either way. So, key points to walk away with here. If you go Radiance, can you get away with it? Is the enemy team going to allow you to farm the 3,800 gold to get the Sacred Relic? Do they have a lot of gankers? Do they have heavy nukers in your team that can just kill you instantly before you get the item? Think about all that stuff. If the enemy team is extremely active, you need to be conscious of that and think, okay, maybe this isn't a Radiance game, and, try not to be greedy. More fun, killing more people mid. I get a little bit too close and I die, and thank God, this is actually going to finally give me a chance to collect my thoughts here. So, first death, nothing wrong with that. I could have avoided dying. I sat in the Tinker Toys and Drow shot me, but that's okay. So, anyway, the core here is pretty much done, and the next natural progression that I would go on Phantom Lancer with this particular build is going to be a heart. And the reason that is, go into Hero Chase, go here, bring this up, and okay, you can't click, but that's okay. Bring up Heart of Tarask. This item is definitely core on Phantom Lancer in pretty much any scenario. The total amount of HP this gives you, what, that's 1,060, 1,070 roughly. It's right around 1,100 HP. 40 times 2,800 plus 300, 1,100. Yep, that's about 1,140, 1,160. Math is hard. Anyway, this item is core on Phantom Lancer for the reason that the HP goes to your illusions and it makes you almost impossible to kill. This is also why I feel like Vanguard is an outdated build, because stacking the Vanguard and Heart together is really not necessary. I can pick up a Vitality Booster early in the game, turn that into a Heart later in the game. The item progression here is smooth, it's clean, nothing overlaps, nothing's wasted. That can really make all the difference. this is what I was talking about before when I started the video is, you know, really think about how am I going to make my item progression clean. By the way, never ever do this, how I brought myself a recipe. This is greedy beyond the point of redemption. Never ever ever do this. With the amount of gold I had, what I should have done is take the courier, send it to the shop, and just buy your Reaver from there, or just go to the shop and buy the Reaver. Just do that. Buying the recipe, it didn't matter at this point. But yeah, never ever ever do this. Do as I say, not what I do. You get the idea. Okay, so again, you know, really think about how am I going to make my item progression clean. And this game, I still could have went Radiance, but would it have provided as much utility as this Diffusal Blade? I don't think so. I'm playing with a really active team. Like we've got a Venomancer, a Rubik, Lina, Invoker. These guys like to fight, and they like to fight early. If I was playing with other heroes that maybe didn't rely so much on early game strength, maybe I could have went Radiance instead. But particularly in the case of like Venomancer and Lina, they do best the earlier that your team fights start. Rubik and self-scales, you know, pretty well. He doesn't become useless late game at all. Rubik is amazing, but we'll save that for another discussion. So I knew that my team wanted to start fighting. We want to start fighting soon, so I decided to not go for the Radiance build this game. So, hard is just about done. Clear up a couple creep waves here. Again, make sure you use your illusions all the time. Like, I'm going to send these guys to push in the base. The moment that I have enough gold, I'm going to go and run to the shop, pick up my Reaver. That's what I should do at least. Yep, there we go. Kill everything, send my illusions into the base. This is probably also going to show why Diffusal is great. Look at just illusions. Illusions alone brought down Tidehunter's mana to half. I wasn't even there. I was over at the shop picking up the heart. Diffusal Blade makes Phantom Lancer just insanely strong. The fact that the mana burn applies to illusions is ridiculous. Another part that I've changed my mind about a fair amount since my prior video is upgrading Diffusal Blade to level 2 quickly. I'm a big fan of using these charges, use them quickly and use them fast to net you early kills. When this thing hits 0, that's when I'm going to upgrade my Diffusal to level 2. In the meantime, I feel like your money is better invested on usually finishing your heart. Get this thing up as fast as you possibly can. It's going to make all the difference. With this amount of HP and this amount of just utility offered by Phantom Lancer, it's really hard to die as this guy. Gonna go and farm some Ancients a little bit more. And again, you know, the team fights here, this is pretty much a stomp by this point. But anyway, there's a couple other things we can talk about here as well. Things that I didn't quite cover in my other video is, where can you go from here? What items should I buy? Well, let's think about this. Like, again, I'm going to look at the other team. Drow, Huskar, Tinkar, Batrider, Tidehunter. Okay, fair enough. So, all that being said, there's a couple decisions I can make from here. If I was against an enemy team that had, you know, a couple fed carries, let's say Drow did a little bit better this game, I think that a Butterfly would probably be a very good choice here. And I'm actually going to go ahead and, yeah, the team fights are cool and all, but they can't do it. And look how much health this gives me. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I cannot die at this point. So, Butterfly is an excellent item on Phantom Lancer. Reason being is because your illusions do get the bonus from the raw agility, they do not get bonus from the raw damage, and they do not get the attack speed. However, they do get the evasion. What this means is that when you stack Heart and Butterfly, your illusions become a really, really serious threat. Having evasion on illusions is actually a lot better than it sounds, particularly if you're against a right-click heavy team. So, Butterfly, excellent pickup in this hero. I would definitely advise this against a right-click heavy team, and if the game isn't so one-sided, definitely consider this. Take a look at this a little bit. It's, okay, I'm silenced right now. So, fighting here, killing this guy, gonna go and try to burst down the Huskar. He does die. Drow can't do much. And again, look, the amount of damage that I'm doing here is not really from the base damage on just my hero, but the fact that I'm able to generate these illusions so quickly, and all of her mana is gone. Like, I use a Doppelwalk there to catch up to her really quickly as well. That's actually a good segue into talking about raw damage items in Phantom Lancer. I rarely build them. Usually I don't. Again, reason being is because your illusions do not get raw damage bonuses. However, if you did build something like a Daedalus, it's not bad. Your illusions can crit. However, keep in mind that they have damage reduction, so your illusions deal 25% of your damage. So while they can crit, the crit effect isn't all that amazing. Yeah, it's going to hurt. But I would build this item sometimes. I very rarely do, but I think the point I'm trying to make is it's not bad. However, before you build this, you absolutely have to have your survivability first. I think that heart is the #1 thing. Never, ever, ever build like raw damage like this before you have your survivability in check. That's very, very important. So again, Butterfly is great. Daedalus is kind of situational. Manta Style is something that I really like on a lot of heroes, not just Phantom Lancer. I look at Manta Style more as a defensive item rather than an offensive item. This is actually would be a good pickup this game. Like, take a look at Tinker. If he were to hit me with his laser, that's actually pretty bad, because that's going to be a 3-second mischance. If I don't have any illusions up during that time, and if I'm exposed somehow, whether it's by Sentry or Dust, that's really going to suck. If I use Manta Style and I use the Manta Split on it, that's going to dispel negative debuffs on me. That is fantastic against, say, Drow's Ice Arrows. Drow's Silence is very good against that. It can dispel... Huskar stuff isn't really going to matter. It will dispel the negative effect from Tide's Gush, dispel Anchor Smash. Manta Style is a fantastic defensive item for heroes like this. Not just Phantom Lancer, but a lot of carries. So, if... mixing and matching BKB and Manta Style is not something I normally like to do. I would never do that in Phantom Lancer, by the way. I never get Black King Bar on this hero for the reason that it exposes who the real one is. I don't really need to say much more than that. You don't want to expose the real Phantom Lancer, because then, oh man, get him! There he is! Yeah, I do not build this. There might be exceptions where I would consider it, but that'd have to be pretty... I don't like it. I would probably never ever build this item on this hero, which is kind of unique. Phantom Lancer is one of the, probably the only carry in the game where I would say don't build Black King Bar, so that's what kind of makes this hero unique and why I enjoy playing him so much, is there's no one else that's really like him. Aside from all that, the game is obviously over, but to keep a few more points of discussion going here, a lot of people like to build Vladimirs on Phantom Lancer. It's okay. I'm going to explain why I personally do not prefer this item. While the auras that it gives you do apply to your illusions, I'm actually going to go ahead and slow the video down here for a sec, because I don't want it to end quite yet. So, the reason that I don't like Vladimir's all that much on Phantom Lancer is because the aura itself is great, right? Lifesteal is always nice. However, your illusions do not benefit from lifesteal. I feel like your slots could be better used elsewhere, and it's just... I like Vladimir's a lot, but I also prefer it on heroes that have high base damage or abilities that crit, which means you're going to get a lot more benefit out of the lifesteal. So, while this is not a bad item on Phantom Lancer, and it's something that I would not, like, really, boom! It's not something that I would think less of someone for building, it's just not something that I personally prefer. Go and let the game in here. Take a look at the final score screen, all that good stuff. If it comes up, there we go. Okay. So again, I'm actually going to slow it down because I'm not quite done talking. I can't bring up the shop right now, but there's also a couple other things you can consider. Like, say, attack speed items like Assault Cuirass, Mjolnir. Those are okay. However, I'm not a big fan of them because, again, remember, raw attack speed does not apply to your illusions. They only apply to your main hero. So, while it's nice for getting up, like, your illusion army quickly, I don't like those items because it doesn't really help your illusions very much. My builds I focus on, except the Dagon, of course, they focus heavily on making sure that my illusions are as strong as they possibly can be. And I feel like that's where Phantom Lancer really shines. So, again, I hope this video helped you out, even if you're not exclusively a Phantom Lancer player. Really think about your items and how you're going to build them according to the enemy team lineup, how you've done for yourself in that game, and really just, you know, be adaptive according to how the game is going. I think that's the most important thing to take away. Phantom Lancer is really good at that. And this build that I have right here is probably my favorite to go. And again, I love this hero so much that I felt like I needed to make another video over him just to give him a little bit more justice. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will be back soon. Take care.